You're right, life is unfair, but maybe that's the very thing that gives you a chance to rise when others give up. There was a time I thought my life was over, everything I had planned, everything I had dreamed gone in an instant. And I remember asking myself, why me? What did I do to deserve this? But you know what I learned? Life doesn't hand out fairness. It hands out challenges, it hands out pain, and it quietly watches what you decide to do next. Some people spend their lives shouting at the unfairness, others they whisper, all right, let's see what I can do with this. That's where real strength is born, not when things are easy, but when everything inside you wants to quit and you still move forward. Maybe you lost something, maybe someone broke you, maybe life burned your plans to the ground, but here's the truth no one tells you. You can rebuild, you can start again, you can take the ashes and turn them into something the world can't ignore. So if you think life is unfair good, that means you're awake. Now it's your turn to fight back, because life doesn't get easier, you get stronger. You know, we grow up with this quiet belief that life is supposed to be fair. That if we work hard, stay kind, and follow the rules, things will somehow fall into place. But somewhere along the way, reality hits hard. You watch someone else get the promotion you worked for. You see good people suffer while others seem to glide through life untouched. And you start to think, this isn't fair. You're right, it isn't, but maybe that's the point. Because if life were fair, if everything was predictable and evenly distributed, there would be no room for courage, no space for growth, and no reason to fight for something greater than yourself. Unfairness is what gives meaning to your choices. It's what separates the ones who complain from the ones who create. Life doesn't owe you comfort. It doesn't owe you happiness. It doesn't even owe you a single good day. But in exchange, it offers you something far more valuable, the chance to earn it, the chance to prove to yourself that you can rise without guarantees, that you can stand tall even when the ground beneath you shakes. Think about it, every person who ever inspired the world, every artist, athlete, entrepreneur, or survivor, they didn't have an easy path. They had setbacks, rejections, heartbreaks, and losses that could have destroyed them. But instead of saying, life isn't fair, they asked, what can I do now? And that question changed everything. When you let go of the idea that the world owes you something, you become unstoppable. You stop waiting for perfect conditions and start building with what you have. You stop chasing sympathy and start creating strength. Because when you realize that no one is coming to save you, you finally understand that you are the hero you've been waiting for. Life offers you endless chances, every sunrise, every breath, every failure that still leaves you standing, but it's up to you to notice them, to take the hand life extends, even if it's covered in dust and pain. Fairness is a myth that keeps you small. Growth begins the moment you drop the illusion that things should be easy. The universe doesn't reward the deserving, it rewards the persistent. So the next time you feel like shouting, this isn't fair, pause. Take a deep breath and tell yourself, good, that means I still have work to do. Because every obstacle is secretly an opportunity, a test designed to show you just how much power you truly hold. You can either waste your energy wishing for fairness, or you can channel it into becoming so strong that the unfairness doesn't matter anymore. One path keeps you stuck, the other sets you free. Life owes you nothing, not success, not love, not happiness. But it offers you everything, the chance to build, to rise, to fail, to heal, to love, to start again. It offers you possibility, and that's more than fair. Pain, it's a word that everyone understands, but no one wants to face. We run from it, hide from it, bury it under fake smiles and busy schedules. We tell ourselves that pain means we're broken, that something has gone terribly wrong. But what if pain isn't the end of your story? What if it's the moment your real story actually begins? Every scar, every heartbreak, every disappointment you've ever carried isn't a sign of weakness. It's a sign that you've lived, that you've fought battles no one saw and survived nights you thought would never end. Pain doesn't mean you failed, it means you're still in the fight. The truth is, strength doesn't come from comfort, it comes from chaos. It's born in those moments when everything inside you screams to give up, but you don't. You keep breathing, you keep walking, you keep showing up, even when the world doesn't notice, especially when the world doesn't notice. There's a strange beauty in pain. It strips away everything fake. It leaves you raw, real, and honest. You start to see what truly matters, who truly matters. Pain teaches you that the things you thought would break you are often the very things that make you unbreakable. Think about it. The strongest people you know aren't the ones who never faced hardship. They're the ones who were shattered and still found the courage to rebuild. They're the ones who lost everything and still found something to smile about. They're the ones who walked through the fire and came out glowing, not because the fire spared them, but because it forged them. Pain is the world's most honest teacher. It doesn't sugarcoat lessons. It doesn't ask for permission. It arrives unannounced, turns your world upside down, and then quietly asks, "Now what will you do?" And your answer to that question defines who you become. You can run from pain, but it will follow you. You can numb it, but it will return, or you can face it head on. When you do, something changes inside you. You stop being a victim of your circumstances and start becoming the author of your own comeback. Every tear you've shed, every sleepless night, every silent battle has been preparing you for something. You might not see it now, but pain is shaping you into someone stronger, wiser, and more compassionate than you were before. It's teaching you empathy, it's teaching you resilience, it's showing you how to rebuild from the ashes, and maybe that's what real strength is, not pretending you're fine, but accepting that you're hurting and still moving forward anyway. Strength isn't loud, it's quiet. It's the whisper that says, "One more step." It's the moment you choose to stand up after falling for the 100th time. It's the courage to keep believing when everything around you tells you to stop. So the next time you feel pain, don't see it as punishment. See it as transformation. The ache in your heart, the weight in your chest, it's not the end. It's your body and soul rebuilding themselves into something tougher, something more beautiful. You are not your pain. You are what you become because of it. Every wound is a doorway. Every struggle is a seed. And if you have the patience to endure, you'll see that pain was never there to destroy you. It was there to awaken you. Pain is not the end, it's the beginning of your strength. We live in a world where comparison has become a daily habit. You open your phone, scroll through endless pictures, and within seconds you start to feel like you're not enough. Someone else looks happier, richer, more successful, more loved. Their life seems effortless while yours feels like a struggle, and slowly, without even realizing it, you start to shrink. You start to doubt your own path, your own pace, your own worth. But here's the truth that no one tells you: comparison is the fastest way to destroy your own power. It doesn't just make you feel small, it disconnects you from the person you're meant to become. Because when your eyes are fixed on someone else's journey, you stop moving forward on your own. Every person you compare yourself to has their own story, their own battles, their own scars that you'll never see on a highlight reel. The smile you envy might be hiding pain. The success you admire might be built on countless sleepless nights and silent tears. You're comparing your behind the scenes to someone else's best moments, and that's never a fair fight. You have your own rhythm, your own timeline, your own unique combination of strengths, flaws, and dreams. Life isn't a race, it's a marathon with no finish line. The only competitor that truly matters is the person you were yesterday. That's the only comparison that will ever make you grow. When you compare yourself to others, you start to forget how far you've already come. You forget the nights you didn't give up. You forget the challenges you conquered silently. You overlook your own progress because you're too busy chasing someone else's definition of success. But real fulfillment doesn't come from winning against others, it comes from becoming someone you're proud of. Think about a flower. It doesn't look at the one next to it and wish it were taller or brighter. It just blooms in its own time, in its own way, and when it does, it adds beauty to the garden simply by being itself. You're no different. You don't have to outshine anyone. You just have to shine in your own light. The world doesn't need another version of someone else. It needs you, your story, your perspective, your voice. You were never meant to fit into someone else's mold. You were meant to create your own. The moment you stop comparing, something powerful happens. You start to focus, you start to build, you start to grow without the weight of insecurity pressing down on your chest. You realize that every person has their own timing and yours is unfolding exactly as it should. There will always be someone ahead of you. There will always be someone behind you, but none of that matters. What matters is that you keep moving, that you wake up every day determined to be a little stronger, a little wiser, a little kinder than you were before. When you compare less, you feel lighter. You start to celebrate others instead of resenting them. You find peace in your own journey instead of anxiety in someone else's. And that's when real success begins, not when you're the best in the world, but when you're the best version of yourself. So the next time you catch yourself scrolling, doubting, or wishing you were someone else, remember this: the person you envy probably once wished they were you. Everyone is fighting battles you can't see. Everyone is trying to figure it out. You don't need to be better than anyone else. You just need to keep becoming the person you were meant to be, because when you stop comparing, you don't lose anything, you gain yourself. And that's where your true power lies. Life has a strange way of testing us. Sometimes it hits you so hard that you're left breathless, staring at the ceiling, wondering why everything had to fall apart at once. You look around and it seems like everyone else has it easier, better luck, better breaks, fewer scars. And in those moments, it's so easy to feel helpless, to believe that life is just unfair and there's nothing you can do about it. But the truth is, you might not be able to control what happens to you, but you have absolute power over how you respond to it. Unfairness is part of being alive. Some people start with advantages you'll never have. Others face pain you can't even imagine. That's the nature of life, uneven, unpredictable, often cruel. But the difference between those who break and those who build lies in one simple choice: how they choose to respond. You can let the unfairness harden you, make you bitter, make you resentful, or you can let it wake you up. You can decide that no matter how many times life knocks you down, you'll keep getting up, not because it's easy, but because giving up won't change a thing. Every time you're faced with something unfair, you're standing at a crossroads. One road leads to anger, blame, and self-pity. The other leads to growth, strength, and resilience. You can't walk both. You have to choose, and that choice will shape your entire life. When you focus on what you can't control, you drain yourself. You start living in frustration, stuck in cycles of why me. But when you shift your focus to what you can control, your attitude, your effort, your mindset, you take back your power. You stop being a victim of circumstance and become a creator of possibility. Some of the most powerful people in the world didn't get there because life treated them kindly. They got there because they refused to let life decide who they would be. They took pain and turned it into purpose. They took rejection and turned it into fuel. They didn't wait for fairness, they created their own version of justice by becoming stronger than what tried to destroy them. You can't control whether people treat you right. You can't control the weather, the timing, the luck, or the outcomes. But you can always control how you show up. You can control how hard you work, how much kindness you give, and how much faith you hold when everything seems impossible. That's where your freedom is, not in the fairness of life, but in your response to its chaos. It takes courage to respond with grace when you've been wronged. It takes strength to forgive when you could easily hate. It takes discipline to keep pushing forward when you have every reason to quit. But those choices, those tiny, quiet acts of resilience are what define who you are. Life will never be perfectly balanced. Some doors will close no matter how hard you knock. Some people will win with half your effort. Some days will hurt more than you can bear, but even then, you still get to decide, will you let it break you or will you let it build you? At the end of the day, your response is your legacy. The world may see your success, but only you know the storms you walked through to get there. And when you choose to rise, when you choose to keep your heart open despite the unfairness, you become unstoppable. You can't control life's unfairness, but you can control your response. And sometimes that single choice to keep standing, to keep believing, to keep moving is enough to change everything. You know, maybe life really isn't fair. Maybe it never was, and maybe it never will be, but that doesn't mean you're powerless, because the truth is you were never here to live an easy life. You were here to live a meaningful one. You don't grow when everything goes your way. You grow when everything falls apart and you still find a way to rise. You grow when the world tells you no, and you decide to keep walking anyway. You grow when the pain becomes your teacher and the unfairness becomes your fuel. So stop waiting for the world to balance itself. Stop waiting for the apology that will never come, for the luck that may never arrive. Instead, take what you have, your scars, your lessons, your resilience, and build something out of it. Because life owes you nothing, but it offers you everything. If you're willing to fight for it, don't let the unfairness steal your fire, let it ignite it. Let it remind you that even when life is uneven, you still have a choice to stand tall, to stay kind, to stay strong. One day you'll look back and realize that the moments that hurt you the most were the very moments that made you unstoppable, and when that day comes, you'll finally understand life was never meant to be fair. It was meant to make you fearless.